Welcome back to everyone who's watching Mamarwa Gasabo TV. You're going to be with me, Princess Mugisha. And let's start with the news headlines. President Paul Kagame received Sheikh Abdul bin Mohammed, a chairman of the National Media Office and the United Arab Emirates Media Council, alongside with his delegation. Ambassador Eugenie addressed the President of the United Nations Human Rights Council after delegations made by the Democratic Republic of Congo Minister of Human Rights during the 60th session of the Human Rights Council. On the international scene, Islamic State group Escalates attack on Niger, Severance Right Group says. Let's take a short break to be back into the news details. Welcome back into the news details, and let's start on news in Rwanda, where President Paul Kagame met with Sheikh Abdul bin Mohammed, the chairman of the United Arab Emirates National Media Office and the Media Council at Urugwiro Village on Tuesday afternoon. The discussions focused on strengthening media cooperation between Rwanda and the United Arab Emirates, recognizing the role of media in advancing bilateral relationship and deepening partnership across multiple sectors. Rwanda and the United Arab Emirates enjoy a strong and growing relationship, and the United Arab Emirates is currently Rwanda's largest export market, with exports surpassing $1.55 billion in 2024, accounting for nearly two-thirds of the Rwanda's total goods exports. The United Arab Emirates is also a major investor, ranking Rwanda as the second largest source of foreign direct investment in 2023, with the commitment of over US $138 million in sectors ranging from logistics and hospitality to mineral processing and agriculture. The two countries have also signed agreements on economic and technical cooperation, and in 2024, the Arab Global Market and the Kigali International Financial Center signed a partnership to link Rwanda Financial Hub with the global capital markets. Beyond trade and investment, Rwanda and United Arab Emirates are expanding cooperation in space, technology, artificial intelligence, and governance innovation. Against the backdrop of the broader and dynamic collaboration, media cooperation is expected to serve as both bridge and catalyst, promoting accurate information, facilitating culture exchange, and amplifying the visibility of the joint initiatives between Rwanda and the United Arab Emirates. Turning to our next story, Ambassador Eugenie addressed the President of United Nations Human Rights Council after delegations made by the Democratic Republic of Congo Minister of Human Rights during the 60th session of the Human Rights Council.
I would like to begin by giving the floor for 5 minutes to Rwanda as a concerned country.
Then before I take the floor for our statement, I want to ensure that I understood well. Did the Minister of Human Rights from the DRC government accuse my delegation and my country of being genocidal in their territory? We want to make sure that this August Assembly is present when these kind of allegations are made on other member states without international legal criteria. And we want to make sure that Mr. President, as you mentioned, the conduct of every member state and participant in this August Assembly should be upheld at the highest level. Thank you.
I suggest that you take up the point you just made bilaterally outside this room with the delegation of the DRC, and that you continue now with your statement. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
It's a red line, Mr. President, for my country to be allegedly accused of genocide when we know that this is a criteria that international law guides. There's no mechanism that has called for that, and I will not allow for that to be mentioned here in the UN premises, and accept that this happens under your watch, Mr. President. I want you to please address this. It's not an allegation that we will accept.
Now let's turn our focus to the next story, where yesterday the RDB CEO, Jean-Guy Afrique, also met with Sheikh Abdul bin Mohammed, chairman of the National Media Office and the United Arab Emirates Media Council, along with his delegation. The discussions also centered on strengthening media cooperation between Rwanda and the United Emirates. Also, the RDB Deputy CEO Julian Muganza welcomed the delegation of young intellectuals, researchers, authors, and opinion leaders from the United Arab Emirates who are visiting Rwanda for a week. The group brings together young professionals from various fields dedicated to fostering dialogue and strengthening relationship between Rwanda and the United Arab Emirates. Let's take a short break to be back into the international news.
Welcome to Alba Supply, where all the magic happens right here in Rwanda. We create clothes that are stylish and comfortable for both women and men. Look around. This is exactly where everything is made. From shirts to t-shirts, suits, trousers, you name it, whatever you need, we got you. Every stitch, every cut is made right here. Alba Supply is all about Rwandan creativity and quality. Comfortable, classy, and of course, proudly made in Rwanda.
Welcome back into the international news, and let's start with the top story making the headlines across Africa, where the Islamic State-affiliated militants have stepped up attacks in western Niger, killing more than 127 people in 5 separate strikes since March and highlighting authorities' failure to protect the civilians, Human Rights Watch said on Wednesday. On the global stage today, NATO member Poland shoots down the drones in its airspace during the Russian-Ukraine attack. Kamikaze proceeds.
On the international news, let's start in Africa, where in Niger, Islamic State-linked militants have intensified attacks in western Niger, killing over 137 civilians in 5 assaults since March, according to Human Rights Watch. The violence occurred in the Tirabere region, near the borders with Mali and Burkina Faso, a known hotspot for jihadist activity. Witnesses identified the attackers as members of the Islamic State in the Sahel province, citing their appearance and prior threats. Human Rights Watch criticized Niger's military for failing to act despite warnings and villagers' pleas for protection. The junta, which seized power in a 2023 coup, citing security concerns, has not commented, and officials did not respond to Human Rights Watch's findings. Despite earlier signs of improved security with French and US support, the recent surge in attacks highlights growing instability as Niger distances itself from Western areas. Human Rights Watch is urging the government to investigate and prosecute these attacks, which may amount to war crimes under international law. Proceeding, hundreds of South Korean workers detained in a major U.S. immigration raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia are said to return home. A Korean air-chartered flight departed Incheon International Airport on Wednesday, heading to Atlanta to collect the workers and expected to arrive back in South Korea on Thursday. The raid, which took place last week, saw 475 people detained, over 300 of them South Korean nationals allegedly working illegally at a battery facility. Most were mechanics hired by a subcontractor to install production lines. The incident has laid concerns in Seoul, especially as South Korea and the US are engaged in sensitive trade talks. South Korea's Foreign Minister Cho Hyun, now in Washington, pressed to prevent such incidents in the future. The White House defended the raid, while President Trump emphasized that foreign companies must follow immigration laws and prioritize hiring Americans. The issue has sparked diplomatic tension. Concluding, on September 10, 2025, Poland shot down several drones that entered its airspace during a large-scale Russian attack on western Ukraine. The Polish military called the incursion an act of aggression, with radar tracking over 10 aerial objects. Drones posing threats were neutralized and crash site searching are ongoing. Prime Minister Donald Tusk convened an emergency government meeting and is in constant contact with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Poland temporarily closed Warsaw's shopping airport, urging residents in affected regions to stay home. U.S. officials, including Senator Dick Durbin, warned that Russian President Vladimir Putin is testing NATO's resolve. Ukrainian officials echoed concerns, urging stronger Western responses. This marks a serious escalation as NATO states like Poland has previously avoided drowning Russian drones to prevent conflict escalation. Poland also announced a border closure with Belarus amid Russia-led military drills, further heightening regional tensions. NATO has not yet officially responded. Kamikaze Ghislaine, Mama Gasabo TV.
As we come to the end of news edition today, let's go back with the news headlines. President Paul Kagame has received Sheikh Abdul bin Mohammed bin But Ahmad, chairman of the National Media Officer and the United Arab Emirates Media Council, alongside with his delegation. Ambassador Eugenie addressed the President of the United Nations Human Rights Council after delegation made by the Democratic Republic of Congo Minister of Human Rights during the 60th session of the Human Rights Council. On the international scene, the Islamic State group escalates the attacks on Nigerian civilians. Rights groups say, thanks for having me. Stay tuned.